It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl. Today, 2 outstanding elementary schools here to play our game, one of whom could go on to become the last of our 4 finalists. Let's meet them right now. First from Kenmoor Middle School, would you please say hello to John Bridgers, Proson Das, and Iffy Okeke. And from Stephen Decatur Middle School, here they are, Deja Tyler, Dylan Derringer, and Roderick Williams. And now here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on the Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to question difficulty, with the easier questions on the left worth 5 and 10 points, the tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest question of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points, no penalties ever for incorrect answers, and at the end of the 2 rounds, one of these 2 good-looking teams will come back to play our game again and perhaps advance to the middle school finals. Let's make sure everything works properly before we start. Let's go to the red team. Proson, would you try your buzzer? Thank you, young man. You have a nice, confident push over there. Good luck to you, to John, and to Iffy. And Dylan, would you try the green team buzzer? It looks good and sounds good. Everyone's on top over there. You're ready and raring to go. Good luck to Dylan and Roderick and Deja. Congratulations, teams, on being picked to represent your schools. You were ambassadors for Kenmoor and Stephen Decatur. Let's just have a good game. May the better team win. We go alphabetically K before S. So Kenmoor, Proson, let's start the bowl.
Zoo Parade for 15.
Zoo Parade for 15 points to start us out. Look at the monitor in the studio, if you would, please. Black skimmers. You see these birds in Ocean City. Notice that the lower beak is larger than the top beak. That lower beak has what same M-initialed word that describes the jaw in a human skull. Kenmoor.
Mandible.
Mandible, yes. The lower beak is the mandible. They can sometimes call the upper beak the mandible as well. Good start. Go red.
Body systems for 15.
Body systems for 15 points. Teams, if you are suffering from encephalitis, you literally have a fever in your what? In your brain. Cephalo was the prefix there, the word that indicated the head. Encephalitis, a brain fever. Go red.
Let's get physical for 15.
Get physical for 15 points. Teams, we know that bees respond to this invisible part of the Kenmoor.
UV light?
Absolutely. Ultraviolet light, the invisible part of the electromagnetic spectrum that we know in human beings, can cause skin cancer. You didn't need all that information. Fast start for Kenmoor. Go Proson.
Science Potpourri for 15.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams, most storms blow themselves out in a day or a week at most. But the great red spot on this planet, Kenmoor,
Jupiter.
Jupiter has been roiling for over 100 years, a storm that never quits. Good. Come on, guys over there. Jump on that buzzer. Even if you make a mistake, you're not going to lose any points. Red, go.
Green things for 15.
Green things for 15 points. Teams, if you were looking for the ideal flower to illustrate positive phototropism, you would choose this flower that was beloved by the artist Vincent van Gogh. Name that flower, Kenmoor.
Sunflowers.
Sunflower. Positive phototropism, turning toward the sun. Absolutely right. Those fields of sunflowers, his signature work of art. Go red.
Science for 15.
Dateline for 15 points. Teams, back in the 1930s, when much of the middle part of this country was a giant dust bowl, all that dust also created an awful lot of what kind of electricity? Stephen Decatur.
Static electricity.
You got that right, Dylan. Static electricity. Lots of lightning, lots of storms because of all of that dust in the air. Good. Go green. Yes, sir.
Green things for 10, please.
Green things, 10 points. Teams, scientists now know that we can predict the severity of the Lyme disease season 2 years out if you look at the size of the crop of these fruits produced by the oak tree. Kenmoor.
Acorns.
Acorns, yes. There are a lot of acorns. That means a lot of mice and chipmunks are going to eat them, and that is where a lot of the carrier is done. Not the deer, but rather those small rodents that carry Lyme disease. Go.
Zoo parade for 10.
Zoo parade for 10 points. Teams, the woolly bear caterpillar is what metamorphic stage in the life of the Isabella? Kenmoor.
Larva.
The larva, the Isabella tiger moth. It's the woolly bear. You know, they look kind of cuddly. They're supposed to foretell the severity of the winter. All right. 130 to 65. Kenmoor, go.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems, 10 points. Teams, if the doctor uses the sphygmomanometer and measures your systole and diastole numbers of 120 over 80, Kenmoor?
You have normal blood pressure.
You have normal blood pressure, absolutely right. I was just going for blood pressure. You gave us the normality part, which is a nice extra. Go.
Let's get physical for 10.
Let's get physical for 10 points. Teams, metallurgists have long been fascinated by iron sulfide, which is sometimes called iron pyrite. Because it glitters, it's sometimes called fool's what?
Gold.
Kenmoor.
Gold.
Boy, that's right. Fool's gold. How many people came back prospecting and have all this fool's gold worth absolutely nothing? Go red.
Science potpourri for 10.
Potpourri for 10 points. The Food and Drug Administration now says that insect parts and rodent hairs are found among cinnamon and saffron and pepper and lots of other of these. Dylan?
Spices.
Spices, yeah. A lot of the spices are contaminated with those parts, a certain number of which are tolerated, but now the number seems to be growing. Okay, green, advantage you.
Let's get physical for 20, please.
Physical for 20 points. Teams, the ionic bonds that join sodium to chlorine to make salt are formed by the giving and taking of what subatomic? Kenmoor.
Electrons.
Electrons, yes. It's the gaining and sharing of electrons that make those ionic bonds. Thank you, John, for your assist on that. Go red.
Dateline science for 10.
Dateline for 10 points. Teams, your question is as follows. Scientists recently revealed that it was about 18,000 years ago that Europeans somehow habituated wolves to living around human beings to become dogs, known as what process? What process turned those wolves into our best friends?
Domestication.
Domestication. You got it, Dylan. Good. Oh, and the buzzer has rung. That was a fast first round. Our score, as we head to break, Stephen Decatur, 85. Kenmoor, 170. Plenty of points to give away. More Science Bowl ahead. We'll be right back.
It takes more than perfect balance.
More than a great pair of legs.
More than a good sword.
It takes more than just talent.
More than the will to win.
It takes you.
It takes your donations to support the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic teams. And now you can donate on Facebook.
He's done it! The U.S. has done it!
Support the U.S. Olympic team on Facebook and donate to make Olympic dreams come true.
Accidents happen, and dental emergencies occur after normal business hours. By taking some precautions, you can help avoid losing a tooth. If you play recreational sports, consider a custom mouthguard to help protect your teeth, tongue, and cheek. When cutting tape, be sure to use scissors and not your teeth, and avoid chewing hard candy, popcorn kernels, or ice. Also, know what your options are. Many dentists have 24-hour services set in place. And many dental practices keep extended office hours and time open in their daily schedules to accommodate emergencies. Depending on the severity of your dental emergency, it may be recommended you go to the hospital. Having a backup plan and knowing what to do when accidents happen can help save your tooth. For the ADA Dental Minute, I'm Dr. Maria Lopez-Howell.
Hello, I'm Tom Selleck. In every generation, men and women have come forward to fight for freedom and defend our liberty. Over 58,000 of them are named on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Join me in supporting a new campaign to build an education center near the wall to tell their stories and teach about the values of those who have served in the past and who serve today. Learn how you can help. Thank you.
And welcome back to Science. Well, so nice to have you here today. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. This is our 28th year of competition here in the Prince George's County Public Schools, and this is the last of the qualifying rounds for this year's middle school finals, and one of these two teams could be the last of our 4 finalists, joining Greenbelt and Thomas Pullen and Samuel Ogle. Let's find out about the players. Let's go to Kenmoor, traditionally a powerhouse, having won more Science Bowl titles than any other middle school. And I know you'd like to repeat again. Prosen, tell us about Kenmoor. Who's your principal?
At Kenmoor is Miss Fudley.
Wonderful. And I know how much she cares about Science Bowl. And who's the sponsor of your team?
Miss Diallo and Miss Pagan.
Both of them, and they are here today, and we'll bring them out in just a few moments. And were there alternates on your team, other students?
Yes, there was Miracle and Nandi.
Wonderful. And they are an integral part of this team, and we'll have them come out on set at the end of the game. Kenmoor has so many things to recommend it. What is one of the better things that you like to brag about?
I like how many activities there are. Like there's a Science Bowl, and then there's other things like robotics and Destination Imagination.
Absolutely.
And I like how many wins we have.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I like that you mentioned Science Bowl first on that list of activities. Prosen. This young man has been here. This is his 3rd year, having competed at Cora Rice and now is at Kenmoor, and wants to be a herpetologist someday. For the people out there watching, and if you're watching Science Bowl, you probably know what it is, but tell them what it is.
It's the study, a person who studies reptiles and amphibians.
Yes. Do you have a favorite reptile or amphibian?
The king cobra.
King cobra. Wow. You have to be very careful dealing with that, don't you, huh? All right. You play such a good game. Nice to have you back. And Iffy, nice to have you here today. Young lady who's very creative. You dance, and you draw, and you read, and what else do you do?
I like to write.
Yeah. And writing, of course, and reading, they go together. It's an expressive kind of thing. What do you hope to do someday, Iffy?
I want to be a pediatrician.
Pediatrician. And she told me earlier she just loves to help people. And you have a nice, calm demeanor about you. You need that when you're around young children. And you're playing a nice game here today. John, nice to have you back. This young man competed at Highland Park Elementary School. Now you're in middle school and you're back again. How do you know so much about science, John?
I remember when I was like in 3rd grade, my mom got me a book, 1,000 Facts on Space.
Yeah.
And I just read that over and over again.
Yeah. And repetition makes a difference, doesn't it? And some of those things probably have stuck with you, especially when you're young and remember things like that. Now, what do you hope to do someday?
I either want to be a physicist or a software engineer.
Wow. All right. You seem like an intense young man, and you play this game really well. And you're in the 6th grade, aren't you? Mm-hmm. So you have 2 more years of eligibility on the Kenmoor team. Nice to have you back. Stephen Decatur, nice to have you guys here, all for the very first time. And Dylan, tell us about Stephen Decatur. Who's your principal?
We have Mr. Cyrus.
Mr. Cyrus. And I know he's a big supporter of Science Bowl. I talked to him personally, and he wishes you well today. And who's the sponsor of your team?
We have Miss Anglin.
Miss Anglin, and she is back again, and she always sends us great students. We appreciate all the work that she does. And you have a couple students in the wings back there.
Yes, we have Enrique Talley and Andy Huang.
Wonderful. And we'll bring them out along with Miss Anglin in just a few moments. Brag about Stephen Decatur, Dylan. What makes it a good school?
Just the general atmosphere is great. All the people are nice. All the teachers are fun. So it's just fun to be there.
Place you'll want to go in the morning. And people have your back, and they have your best interest at heart. That's what makes a great school. Give us the Dylan story. What do you do in your spare time?
I play a lot of video games. I like to read, writing sometimes in my off times. Just mess around, relax, whatever.
And someday an engineer, right?
Yes.
Engineer. Good player, good captain, good luck in the second half.
Okay.
You're welcome. Roderick, nice to have you here. Young man, great voice. You could be a communicator. I mean, you could do my job over here.
I could.
I think you could indeed. Someone in the wings we've got. Tell us about yourself. What do you do in your spare time?
I tend to play lots of video games. I do read, and like Dylan said, I do hang around, just walk around.
Just regular stuff. Yeah, it's guy stuff, it's kid stuff. Enjoy this time of your life while you can. And you like Greek mythology, you told me.
Greek mythology.
Yeah. And professionally, what do you want to do someday?
I really want to be a detective and a forensic scientist.
Yeah. And that interest came from?
Sherlock Holmes.
Very good.
Definitely Sherlock Holmes. I read a whole lot of his books, and he definitely showed me as like a hero and someone you kind of want to be when you get older. So
exactly. Wow, what a great role model. I think that's the first time we've heard of Sherlock Holmes having that role in someone's life. Boy, the value of reading. Thanks, Roderick. Deja, nice to have you here with us today. Tell us about yourself. What do you want to do someday?
Well, I want to become an animator, and I do like to draw, so I want to become an artist also.
Wow. Is there a favorite cartoon character or comic strip that you look at, but boy, I could do that?
It's kind of weird, but I like the show Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if any of you know that.
Say it again.
Dragon Ball Z.
I've heard of it. Is it a comic strip?
It's an anime show.
Animation. Ah, okay. And have you always been a good artist?
Well, like, this goes back to why I like Dragon Ball Z is because, I think maybe the 2nd or 3rd grade, I watched Dragon Ball Z and I thought, hey, that was cool. So I drew the character and it ended up being pretty good. And then since then, I've just been drawing a lot of things and it's been pretty fun.
Isn't that great how those early experiences can color like a lot of your life? Like Roderick was telling me, the book that you read about Sherlock Holmes, those things influence you. Those are your epiphanies, Hey, maybe I could do that for a career. Thanks for sharing that with us. Let's get back to our game. Decatur 85, 170 for Kenmoor. Last correct answer came from the green team. So Dylan, you start us out if you would.
Science potpourri for 20, please.
Potpourri for 20 points. A multiple choice question. Teams, the heroine of a new crime novel is a forensic geologist, and the title of the book is Killer Bees, Killer Worms, or Killer Dust. Kenmoor.
It's a geologist. Killer Dust. Killer Dust?
Killer Dust, yes. Geology was your clue there. A forensic geologist. Killer Dust, yes. Soon to be a horror movie. Go, Red.
Zoo Parade for 20.
Zoo Parade for 20 points. Visual question. Look at the monitor. Charles Darwin went to the Galapagos Islands, but he was not interested in the iguanas or the tortoises. No, he was interested in these birds. Can you tell me what birds they are, Dylan?
Finches.
They are Darwin's finches, absolutely right. The different sizes of the beaks on close islands gave him the idea for the theory of evolution. Go green, you're on a roll.
Let's do Zoo Parade for 5, please.
Zoo Parade for 5 points. Teams, this sport is all the rage in India and has the same name as what noisy
Cricket.
Cricket, that's the noisy insect I was about to say. You got that right. Go Red.
Body Systems for 20.
Body Systems for 20 points. See, you think after 1,000 years of dissecting and operating on human bodies, doctors would know everything inside of us. Not so. Recently, they found a new one of these, a strong, elastic, connecting L-initialed frozen ligament in the human knee that had been overlooked by everybody else. That's it. Go Red.
Green Things for 20.
Green Things, 20 points. Teams, your question. The Signature of All Things is a new novel about a 19th century botanist, female botanist, who has an entire garden filled with these bryophytic plants which supposedly do not gather on a rolling stone. Dylan.
Roses?
Not roses. What bryophytic plants do not gather on a rolling stone? An entire garden of these in this new novel, Prosen.
Moss?
Moss. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Yes, a moss garden is what she had. Go, Red. Good comeback.
Dateline Science for 20.
Dateline, 20 points. Teams, in 1939, French physicists, including a Curie, showed that the fission of this radioactive element led to a chain reaction. Name that element, Kenmoor.
Uranium?
Yes, uranium. Good. Go, Red.
Zoo Parade for 25.
Zoo Parade for 25. The first of the big questions, here it is. Teams, this tiniest of all mammals is also the only poisonous mammal and uses echolocation to find its prey. Kenmoor.
Bat.
Not a bat. Stephen Decatur, you can get 25 much-needed points. This tiniest of all mammals is also the only poisonous mammal and locates its prey like worms underground by using echolocation, just like a bat does.
A mole.
Good try. Shrews. Shrews are poisonous. Go again, Red.
Body systems for 25.
Body systems, 25. Big one in that category. Teams. Recently, Jets coach Rex Ryan had gastric bypass surgery because of a weight problem. Not only did they bypass his stomach, they bypassed the duodenum, which is the first section of what subsequent organ to the stomach. Be specific.
Small intestine?
Small intestine. Yes, sir. Good, go.
Let's get physical for 25.
Let's get physical for 25. Teams, interesting question. Listen carefully. When President Obama travels overseas and checks into a hotel, the first thing the Secret Service does is pitch a tent in the room to keep spying eyes from seeing what's going on. So the walls of the tent have what O-initialed quality, that is the reciprocal. Kenmoor?
Opaque.
Opaque, yes. The reciprocal of transparent. Opacity. Good. Go, Red.
Green things for 25.
Green things, 25. Big one in that category. Teams back in World War II, when the supply to the United States of fluffy kapok was cut off by the Japanese, American children like you were paid 15 cents apiece to collect pods from this weed that was filled with fluffy fiber, and is also, Kenmoor?
Cotton.
Not cotton. Good try, Stephen Decatur. This plant, pods, 15 cents apiece for every one collected by a child, filled with a fluffy kapok material, also the favorite food of monarch butterflies. Name that weed. What do you think? Milkweed. Milkweed is what the monarch feeds on, and that has those pods filled with all of that fluff that was used to make vests for the soldiers back then. Go, Red.
Science potpourri for 25.
Potpourri for 25 points. Teams, the so-called Oort cloud just beyond Neptune is supposedly the birthing ground of these heavenly bodies that get vaporized as they go past the sun and develop tails. Kenmoor.
Comets.
Comets, yeah, that's what happens. Good, go.
Dateline science for 25.
Dateline for 25 points. Team, tough question. Teams, back in 1950, doctors performed the very first artificial lens implant into an eye, taking the place of a lens that was clouded over. Kenmoor?
Cornea.
Not cornea, good try. The clouded over lens that was replaced has what same name as a small waterfall.
Tears.
It's a cataract. Cataract surgery. Try again, Red.
Body systems for 5.
Body systems for 5 points. Teams, in some countries in the world, justice is pretty tough. It's an eye for an eye and a what for a what? Stephen Decatur.
Tooth for tooth.
Tooth for a tooth. That's it. Goes Dylan.
Green things for 5, please.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, always wear rubber gloves when handling the smelly fruit of the ginkgo tree because it contains urushiol, the same oil that is found in what famously itchy vine. Kenmoor.
Poison ivy.
Poison ivy, yeah. Go, Red.
Let's get physical for 5.
Get physical for 5 points. Teams, if I told you that the Geminid meteor shower was so named because it came from the Gemini constellation, and the Perseid shower came from the Perseus constellation, the Leonid meteor shower comes from what constellation? Kenmoor? Yes, sir.
Leon.
Leo, that's it. The Lion constellation. Go. 2 questions left.
Science potpourri for 5.
Potpourri for 5 points. Teams, Kermit the Frog likes to joke that he got trichinosis and maybe swine flu from her. Stephen Decatur.
Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy is right. Last question of the game. Dateline for 5 points. Poor Pluto. Was kicked out of the Planet Club, and now they have assigned it what diminutive?
Dwarf planet.
A dwarf planet, absolutely right. And with that, we come to the end of our Science Fall. We'll be right back with a wrap-up. Don't go away.
Hello? Hello? I've been on the street for a while. I saw your poster outside. I don't know what to do.
National Runaway Switchboard, how can I help? Call 1-800-RUNAWAY to make the connection.
welcome back to Science Bowl. What a game we had here today. Hardly a question missed, testifying to the skill and the talents of our 6 players. We are proud of all of them. Our final tally today is Stephen Decatur 115, Kenmoor 350. Kenmoor one step closer to another title. John Prosen and Iffy, congratulations. Nandi and Miracle, Miss Diallo. And Miss Diallo, who do we have with us here? That's right, Miss Fadi is here, the principal of Kenmoor. Thank you for joining us today. Stephen Decatur, let me see some smiles over there. Deja and Dylan and Roderick, first-timers, you did a great job. Miss Anglin, thank you for being here today. And Enrique and Andy, thanks. Look at the size of these guys. Thanks for being here with us today, and we'll see you next time on another edition of Science Bowl. Bye-bye.